we release her. Thank you. Right there. Just walk that way. Thank you. All right. Thank you. The state calls Riley Stokes.
Solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please say your name for the record.
My name is Riley Stokes.
Mr. Stokes, what's your rank?
Master Deputy.
Master Deputy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Want to make sure I get that right. Master Deputy Stokes, who do you work for?
Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been there?
Since 2013.
And what have you done for the Greenville County Sheriff's Department?
Worked uniform patrol, K-9, homicide, Master Deputy on uniform patrol, and I'm in CID now.
What is CID?
It is Criminal Investigation Division, and I'm assigned to the arson unit.
What does the arson unit do?
Investigate fires. Yes, sir.
Those can be complex.
They can be.
Were you involved in the investigation of the murder of Christina Parcell?
Yes.
How did you get involved in that murder?
At the time, in 2021, I was assigned to the homicide unit, and I was contacted while at the law enforcement center in the homicide office to respond to that location in reference to a death investigation.
And did you respond?
I did.
All right. About what time did you respond?
Roughly 11:30, around that time frame.
Was there a lot of manpower asked to come out there and assist in this investigation?
Yes, sir, there was.
So did you respond out to 113 Canebrake? I'm sorry, 122 Canebrake?
Yes, I responded to that location and assisted in blocking off the already roped off scene using my patrol vehicle at that time.
What did the scene look like when you got there?
Crime scene tape was already up, blocking off the roadway. The roadway was still open. However, there was nothing blocking the actual road, so that's why I used my patrol vehicle. And there were multiple investigators on scene, along with other uniform patrol deputies as well.
I'm going to ask you to just bring that microphone just a touch for us, so I just want to make sure this jury can hear you.
Copy. Gotcha.
And so, so when you got there, what was the first thing you did when you got there?
I met with Investigator Sparkman, and I was tasked with starting the neighborhood canvass.
Okay. So Investigator Sparkman was lead investigator on scene.
Yes.
All right. And again, what was so were you delegated duties, I guess?
Yes, I was. As far as the neighborhood canvass, checking for security cameras within the immediate vicinity of the incident location.
All right. So two questions. One, what was the purpose of that? And two, how did y'all organize that?
So the purpose of that was to try and determine who was at the residence that morning, and then develop a timeline if we were able to do so. And can you repeat your second part of that question?
How did y'all organize it?
So I was tasked with actually being over the neighborhood canvas. And that being said, there was about 6 investigators total that assisted in that. And once they found cameras at certain houses, they would let me know where they were at, and we would go contact the homeowners and try to make contact with them.
And so, in assisting in the neighborhood canvas, do you come familiar with the Canebrake neighborhood?
Yes, very.
And how many houses do you think you canvassed that day?
Probably 25 to 30 myself.
And how would it work? Would you just knock on the door?
We would start by, we started at the incident location and realized there was a Ring doorbell directly across the street from 122, and that was located at 121. And from there, we circled out utilizing Canebrake Drive all the way down to Saratoga and around the entire neighborhood.
All right, Master W. Stokes, I'm going to show you what State's Exhibit 107. I know it's kind of big and bulky. I'm going to hold it right here. Can you tell this jury what this is?
That is a map of the Canebrake subdivision.
All right. And is this an accurate depiction of the subdivision when you were canvassing it?
Yes, sir.
That day?
Yes, sir.
And I noticed there's addresses on here.
Yes.
As well. Do you recognize those addresses?
Yes, sir, I do.
Are those addresses points of interest?
They are.
And do you recognize those?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Is this a true and accurate description of the Canebrake neighborhood with those addresses?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 107 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, number 107 comes in that.
So this jury can understand what y'all are doing. I think I'm showing my age by using an easel. I'm going to do my best. Is that right? That's right. Go on, just walking around. Yeah, that's right. All right. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Sure. I'm trying to turn it. How about that?
You can come over here. Sit right there, you'll see.
Sure, thank you.
You see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's go over this map. If you'll tell this jury and kind of describe this map, can you see what road this is right here?
I cannot read the writing, but I know that's South Batesville Road.
And where is the entrance to Canebrake neighborhood?
If you see the green square that's parallel with South Batesville, just above it, about 6 inches, and that's Canebrake
Okay.
Drive right there.
And so where did Christina Parcell live?
At 122.
And is that right there?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. And so we were talking about a ring camera that you identified. And where was that first ring camera that you identified?
At 121 Canebrake, which is directly across and at an angle from the incident location.
All right. And did you ever talk to Donna Gorman?
I did.
What address did she live in?
Hers is 117, which is directly across from 116.
Is that right here?
It is.
Okay. And then I have 116 Canebrake.
Yes.
Were you able to find anything of significance at 116 Canebrake?
Yes, they did not have a ring camera. However, they did have cameras on the front side of their house near the gutter up high and on the front side of the residence.
Okay. And then, so I'm assuming your teams of officers are walking up and down Canebrake Avenue here. And then what is this road that it deads into?
It runs into Saratoga, which comes back around, and I'm not sure of the name that it runs into. It may change names at the end, but that's Saratoga Drive that Canebrake runs into.
All right. And so is that 207 Saratoga down there?
Yes, sir.
Is that
It is.
accurate?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. And then this is 133 Canebrake?
Yes.
All right. What is the distance between this clump of houses and then 133 and 207?
From 116 to 207 would roughly be about a half a mile there, give or take a few hundred feet.
And so back to 121 Canebrake.
Okay.
You said you identified a ring camera.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I met with the homeowner there, I believe his name is Chris, and he had multiple activations of his Ring doorbell camera. And standing there with him, we went through that, and there was multiple vehicles that went by and set off his activations. Well, in the process of doing this, we realized at 9:15 there was a car that passed. And when that car passed, you could see the front porch of 122. There was what appears to be a male stepping into the front door. And then it goes away because it's a short clip, motion activated, and there was no more motion from the road because the car had passed. We continued to backtrack, and we were able to see that at 8:07 that morning, Ms. Parcells' vehicle is leaving. And there's multiple other activations throughout this time frame.
All right. And you've reviewed the ring camera at 121.
Yes, I did.
All right. I'm going to play for you State's Exhibit 14.
Okay.
All right, can you describe, you can play it again, describe this to this jury what you're seeing in the background there and what caused the ring camera to...
All right, so the white SUV that passed by activates the camera, and while watching this video, you see 2 points of motion. You see the vehicle first, and then in the background, you'll see the suspect, possible suspect, stepping into the front door. Looks like a gray sweatshirt, a backpack, and dark in color pants.
Now, have you reviewed stills of this video?
Yes, sir, I have.
I'm gonna set this right here.
All right.
You heard Agent, you did not hear, but Agent Sled Agent Hropshire testified about enhancing these photos.
Right.
But when did y'all obtain this evidence in further to the investigation?
So I had been on scene probably 25 to 35 minutes, and as soon as I obtained this, I asked the homeowner, which is, I believe his name again was Chris, he emailed that to me, to my county phone, and I sent that to Sergeant Kelly with the Technical Services Unit with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office for reason being he could see that a lot better in his office on a large big screen TV. And he could give us more details other than watching this on cell phones on scene.
And would you consider this sort of a break in the case?
At this point, absolutely.
Why is that?
Because other than this, we were unsure of any suspect. This is the first sign of anything that we had was right here at this point.
So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 16. And I'm going to have you kind of walk us through what we're seeing on these
Okay.
photos, okay?
All right, so that is a still shot of 122 of the initial ring camera after the white vehicle had passed. That is the suspect standing on the front stoop, front porch, directly in front of the main entranceway of the home.
All right. And is there a car to the right there?
There is.
Did you determine whose car that was?
That was Miss Parcells, yes.
And that's 122 Cambridge, that's Ms. Parcells' house?
Yes.
And what is that?
That is the same incident location, 122 Canebrake, with the suspect stepping onto the front steps. I believe that will be at the top of the steps onto the front porch, same incident location.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the exhibit. That was exhibit 18. Exhibit 19.
Will be directly after stepping onto the front porch.
Exhibit 20.
Be at the front door.
Exhibit 21.
Opening the front door.
And exhibit 22.
He's stepping inside the residence.
And I know we just reviewed the video. On the video, can you see the individual going inside?
Briefly, yes, right before it cuts off.
So, as part of your investigation and canvassing, are you also trying to establish a timeline as well?
Yes, sir.
And when reviewing the videos or the ring camera from across the street of Christina Parcells' house, did you discover any other times on there that were important to your investigation?
Yes. At that time, that was 9:15 when he had stepped in. So, backing up to a few other of the notifications that Mr. Chris had located, at 9:27, I'm misspeaking here. That 9:27 is for 133. We'll get to that in a minute. At 9:15, he is stepping in the house. She arrives at the home at 9:12. So just a few minutes prior, her vehicle is turning into the driveway.
Would it surprise you if it was about 9:07?
No, that would be
Let's look at the video.
okay.
All right, and so
I may have my time's off, but it's
so-
right there.
in addition, were you able to see the comings and goings of Christina Parcells' car,
Yes.
her sister Tina Parcells' car?
Yes.
And of course, you can see the arrival of Brad Post's car.
Yes, sir.
On that road. Okay, so let's take a look at those. So I'm showing you what states Exhibit 14. And it's approximately 8:06.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at 8:06, what kind of cars do you see at the Parcell home?
So there is a Lexus SUV and there's a silver sedan, which is the sister's vehicle.
Is that Tina Parcell?
Yes, it is. All right, this is at 8:11, and the only vehicle there is the sister. Her vehicle is in the driveway.
So, what did your investigation conclude based on that video?
Obviously, the victim in this case was no longer at her residence at that time.
At 8:11?
Yes.
And now what time is that?
That will be 8:35, and the silver sedan is fixing to start backing up, which will be the sister leaving.
And what time was that?
8:35?
So at 8:35, Tina Parcell's car.
Yep, her vehicle leaves, yes. And then this is where 9:12, the silver SUV is back in the driveway.
All right, so we know from this video
At this
that
time.
at least by 9:12,
Yep.
Christina Parcell is back at her house.
Yes. And then 3 minutes later, the 9:15 video of the suspect stepping in comes into play.
I'm gonna show you what's marked as exhibit 105. I'm gonna show you what state's exhibit 105. Another big bulky exhibit. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is this?
So this is the 3 stills that we looked at just a few moments ago, coupled with the map of Canebrake Drive.
Is it true and accurate from the information that you reviewed on
Yes,
those
sir.
3 cameras?
Yes, sir, it is.
And this map is true and accurate?
Yes, sir.
Based on your knowledge. Your Honor, State moves exhibit 105 into evidence.
There's no objection.
I'll just hold it briefly. So tell the jury what we see here.
The 3 stills are the 2 on the left and the 1 on the right. And then this is captured, if you see the arrow going from 122 to 121, that shows you the distance between the ring camera and the incident location where you were able to see the suspect stepping up onto the house.
And at what time was that?
That was at 9:15.
All right. Mr. Stokes, I'm going to show you, I'm going to refer you back to 116 Canebrake
Okay?
to help establish this timeline.
All right.
So 116 is where?
It is closer to South Batesville Road.
Is that it right there?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir.
And we've already discussed images, ring cameras from 116. So I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 13. Tell this jury what you're seeing.
Okay. All right, so that's the victim's vehicle driving by. That's at 9:07 a.m. And if you remember, we spoke about 9:12. This is where the gap in the video surveillance is. From 9:07 to 9:12, we don't have anything because there was no motion activation. But we know that she was at home at 9:12 and she passed that residence at 9:07.
And how far away is that residence? That's 116 to 122.
Probably 350 feet to 400 feet, roughly.
So she passes by at 9:07?
Yes, sir.
Christina Parcell does?
Yes, sir.
And so what time does this footage of 116 show you?
This is at 10:57 a.m., and that is a red vehicle, which that's Mr. Post's vehicle.
And was that vehicle in the driveway when you arrived on scene?
It was.
All right. So now I'm going to, so you found this piece of evidence of a suspect walking into Christina Parcells at 9:07.
Yes.
Did y'all continue to canvass even after you located that?
Yes.
And what were you looking for?
At that point, we were able to tell that the suspect from that view at 9:15 from 121, looking for black pants, gray shirt, possibly a black or dark in color backpack. We were able to look for anyone walking, or motorcycle, bicycle, anything like that. So we were able to make contact at 133 Canebrake Drive, where they do not have a ring camera, but they have surveillance footage, much like the one you just watched from the side of their house. And it has multiple different angles.
I'm sorry, I got to take you back 2 seconds.
That's fine.
I forgot. I'm trying to get all my stuff in. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 104. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is that?
This is the still shots from 116 Canebrake Drive, along with a map of Canebrake showing 116 and the relevance to 122.
Your Honor, State moves exhibit 104 into evidence.
No objection.
Objection number 104.
So that's just basically stills of the video we just saw.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, I'm sorry. We'll take you to 133 Canebrake. And so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 15. Now, in establishing this timeline, did you kind of have to go into the data to figure out a little bit?
Yes. So at this location, we actually had a language barrier, and we requested that TSU, which is our technical services unit, come out and assist in pulling the video. So it took a little bit longer to get this than when we were able to get the Ring doorbell. But we were able to view this and locate a suspect on a bicycle from this location right here.
And is that what y'all located right there?
Yes, sir, it is.
And at what time is that bicycle going past 133 Canebrake?
927.
927.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all right, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit. I'm going to show you some photos.
Okay.
These are stills of State's Exhibit 15. All right, so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 24.
All right, that is from the still shot of the video surveillance from 133. At this point, we realized that we were looking for a white male based on the stature of the shoulders.
And how were you able to determine that it was a white male?
If you look where there's a mask right there, yep, there's a side of the neck that is exposed.
And what kind of bike is the suspect riding?
It appears to be a large frame, either a road bike or a hybrid road mountain bike.
And what kind of clothes?
Black pants, dark and colored shirt, and then a dark backpack.
And wearing gloves?
Gloves and a N95 mask.
And were you able to determine kind of what's on his head?
It's either a hat or a beanie.
All right, so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 25.
Another still shot from the same, showing the same.
State's Exhibit 26.
At this point, you can also see at the neck, just behind the mask, you can see shadowing. Looks as if it's a thin beard. At that point, that confirmed that we were looking for a white male.
State's Exhibit 27.
Again, that's the still shot from the video from 133 with the same details of what I just described.
And State's Exhibit 28.
This is from 133, Canebrake, from the, if you're facing the house, it will be on the right-hand side. We have been looking at the left-hand side. This is now from the right-hand side view of it. Same individual, same time frame.
State's Exhibit 29.
Video surveillance from 133. This is from the right-hand side.
And of course, did you keep canvassing?
We did.
Were you able to locate any more Ring cameras that were important to your investigation?
Yes, sir. We located one more on Saratoga, which is the road that Canebrake Drive runs into, and that's at 207, and that was at 9:38. Excuse me, 9:28. 9:27 for the last house, and this one is 9.
All right. And I jumped ahead again. I'm going to run you back to 133. But I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 106. State's Exhibit 106.
Yes, sir.
Is that 133?
That is 133 Canebrake Drive, yes, sir.
And what's the timeline?
That's at 9:27 a.m., and the map below shows the location.
State moves 106 into evidence, John.
No objection.
Without objection, number 106.
Okay. And then finally, State's Exhibit 102. State's Exhibit 102?
Yes, sir.
You recognize that?
Yes, sir. That is from the video surveillance from 133, showing the neckline of the Caucasian male.
State moves 102 into evidence.
No objection.
Without objection.
All right. Now let's go to 207. Tell us, sir, about 207 Saratoga.
207 Saratoga is down the road from the incident location. Now, the Ring doorbell at this location captured a couple walking, and then directly thereafter, the same subject that was on the bicycle captured at 133 was seen going from left to right, passing by the residence. This is in the same direction in which it just came from, passing 133.
So the last one was at 133.
Yes, sir.
And then down here to the right of State's Exhibit 107 is 207 Saratoga.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 12. And let you tell this jury about it.
So like I mentioned earlier, Saratoga and the intersection of Canebrake is to the left of this or the front of this house. The intersection is up to the left, and here comes the gentleman on the bicycle from left to right. That was at 9:28.
That was at 9:28. All right. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 31.
So that's a still shot from the video from 207 Saratoga.
State's Exhibit 32.
Another still shot, same location.
Is that the same individual at 133 Canebrake?
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit 33.
Same individual, same video surveillance, still shot.
State's Exhibit 34.
Another still shot of the same.
And State's Exhibit 35.
And that's the last image we have of the individual passing. 207 Saratoga.
All right. So, in establishing everything that we've talked about now, did you create sort of a timeline?
Yes, sir.
Of events of what happened on October 13th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm just going to ask you, and I'll help you the best I can.
Right.
You see me moving a lot around here and holding up a lot of exhibits, so we need to refer back to when we can.
Right.
But I'd just like to ask you to give this jury a timeline of events of that morning.
All right, so based on the neighborhood canvas, we were able to find from 807 was the first initial to 1104, 1105 is when EMS, fire department personnel are on scene. As we talked about earlier, we have the subject walking into the front door at 9:15. We were able to back up and see the videos of her leaving and then coming back, and seeing from 116 Canebrake. That shows that she returned, and directly thereafter, you get to go back to 121. She's back at the house. He steps in at 9:15, and then at 9:27, he passes 133. At 9:28, he passes 207 Saratoga. That's a very short time frame when you break it down from 9:12 that she's there. We know that she had returned at 9:07, and then he's passing 207 Saratoga, 9:28.
And did you speak with Donna Gorman as well?
I did.
And so what time, do you remember what time she saw, approximately what time she saw a bicycle who?
She mentioned in between 8 and 8:15 the same morning that she had saw a gentleman on a bicycle going from South Batesville toward 122 Canebrake.
And I got one last exhibit, State's Exhibit 103. What is that?
That is 207 Saratoga, where the gentleman on a bicycle is going from left to right.
State moves 103 to evidence, Your Honor.
No objection.
Objection on 103.
So finally, were y'all sharing all this information as this investigation was ongoing?
Yes, sir.
And you shared it with Detective Sparkman?
Yes, sir. As soon as I obtained it, that was sent to my county computer and then transferred directly over to his county computer via the Q drive. So he has immediate access to it.
I'll just ask you to answer any questions defense counsel may have.
Yes, sir.
Cross-examination.
Just real briefly, so what was the very first photograph or video that you have of a bicycle?
The first bicycle that we had was from 133 at 9:27 a.m.
9:27. So you don't have any video or any photographs of a bicycle prior to 9:15 when you say you saw somebody?
No, we didn't see the bicycle at 9:15.
I'm sorry, did you see, or before 9:15?
No, we did not.
Okay. Did you canvass the neighborhood? Well, during your canvass of the neighborhood, did you look for time frames before 9:15 also?
Yes, sir. We backed it up, and before 8 a.m., there was nothing of relevance at that.
Okay. Okay, nothing further. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
You may step
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor. Yeah, can we approach?